Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try and expedite it because I want this to be a little more interactive. There's a lot of data that's going on, and there's a lot of you in the room that know the data better than I do, so I'm going to go through some stuff, but I want you to ask questions because many of you in the room are already doing what I'm talking about, and I want you to ask the questions because you got to go away from this conference and bring something back and be able to go, I'm so excited I learned this. Okay? Deal? All right. So why do you need to give to get, okay? Now, I'm an entrepreneur, so I talk in much simpler, sometimes a lot of four-letter words, things like that. So I'm gonna really dumb it down a bit. And I really want everyone to understand giving to get is from the employer's perspective, what are we gonna give to our employees, right? And I really live my life intentionally about the laws of reciprocity. So I think it's really the first things. It's reciprocity. They ain't giving if you're not giving, okay? So that's the mindset I want us all to be in. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so the challenge. Uncertain economy. I say the world is on tilt. Anybody else feel that? Yeah. And it's really rough, especially you guys are, most of you, I'm going to presume, are all HR people. You are dealing with more crap than you've ever had to deal with. Correct? Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. Let's just be honest, right? Some smiles in the face. Employees are reevaluating their status every frigging minute, right? You know, I lead companies and I have to keep my mouth shut, everything that comes out of my mouth, every text, because I'm going to piss someone off, and that's really hard for me. But at the same time, another part of my people are saying, I love the fact that we know where we all stand at the same time. But you don't know what to do. None of us really know what to do. We're living in this gray area. And according to McKinsey, you guys know all these stats, 39% of thousands of individuals are considering quitting in the next 3 to 6 months. I would personally say it's double. Why? Because I'm hiring and I run a purpose-driven company. Everybody I meet from the corporate sector is starving for purpose. So if you are not providing purpose, your people are going to leave. That's really the message I'm saying to you. And I'm saying it because I can tell you the people applying for jobs with one of my divisions has gone up 2,000%. And I don't even advertise. That's how crazy it is. Well, okay. So So we all know retention, absenteeism up 30%. If you are not engaging your people, productivity down 18%, profitability down 21%. I think these numbers are way too low. Okay, they're from very large companies who produce data. I would at least double them. But the key word is disengaged. Disengaged employees have a direct impact on customer complaints. They also have clients, and it also costs in the long run of everything we do. And if you can engage, turn this around, it'll also turn all of your customers. It just has this amazing cascading ripple effect. And the cost of losing these people, any of the finance people in this room, entry level, so anybody kind of under 50K, 30 to 50% of their salary just to replace them. And again, that's not even talking about if you use headhunters, recruiters, training, time, borrowing staff to train them, taking away from their key role. Mid-level, 150% of their salary, and high-level, 300% of their salary. Those are huge numbers, right? And I'm not sure about any of you, but the fat on the bottom line, this just sucks it right out. So we want to, from a business mindset, keep our people happy and keep them engaged and contributing. It's good for everybody. The additional challenge is the workforce. We're all talking about hybrid, remote. It's interesting. I've heard all morning people talking about people not wanting to come back to the office. I'm actually hearing a lot of people coming to me to say, can I come to the office? And I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you in a minute what I do. Yeah, we're an in-office company, and if you need to work some positions hybrid a day or two, but I don't want you working hybrid. But if you're more productive, it's cool. But the amount of people that are contacting and asking to come to the office because they're suffering from mental illness or social isolation. So if you have that type of environment where you need to be at work, which is what I'm hearing a bit, don't be ashamed of it. Publicize it, because there's actually a massive amount of people that want to come back. Okay? 21% of workers lose up to 2 hours a day because of stress, and we know commuting. I have 5 children. One of my children was just told he was working 2 days a week hybrid. He was just told he has to come to the office 4 days a week. You thought somebody died, right? I said, just think about all the more mentorship you're going to get. And he's like, Mom, I can't run, I can't do yoga, it's 4 hours out of my day. And I'm like, suck it up, buddy, just wait till you have a family, right? But this is the reality, right, of what's happening. 53% believe their mental health should be a top priority for employees. Anybody feel that? Including the leaders? Mental health is just something I think we never talked about for a long time. I don't think it's that much worse. I think it's just bad. Now we're talking about it, which is a really good thing. So we all know this. You guys all know this stuff. You probably have a lot more to add. So what's the solution? Win your employees' hearts, okay? We all know if you win their hearts, it goes directly to their mind. And again, it's that whole ripple effect. Your clients will be happier. You know, their families, they'll come home when they work. If they work, oh my God, I love my job. I love the company I work for. They'll recruit and other people to come. Good people know good people. I mean, it's an incredible thing. So this is really what I want everybody to focus on, winning your employees' hearts, okay? And talking about brand ambassadors, you know, how many of you can actually say people have left your companies and they're still sending you business? Anybody? Okay, so you guys have done a good job of this. If you're not getting business from people who have left your company and referrals from those, then you need to work on this, okay? Cheapest sales pipeline. So who am I? I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. Bargains Group is a 36-year-old company. My background's fashion, business and marketing. I go into factories when there used to be factories. There aren't anymore. I buy large quantities of basic necessities of life. In between the things, I just bought 78,000 pairs of men's underwear. That's what I do, hygiene, all of that. And I re-put them into packages and I sell them to stores across the country. But I found my purpose, and I was volunteering at a homeless shelter. And it had a massive impact on my life because I found that they were actually buying socks and underwear and gloves and scarves from a store that I sold it to. And as a donor, because I'm volunteer as a donor, I watched huge amounts of money. I said, are you kidding me? You just bought that at that time. It was Zeller's. That's my stuff. Just call me directly and I'll save you 80%. I'll save you 6 hours of a social worker's time going shopping. And you can put that money into rehabilitation and hiring more staff or transitional housing or whatever that would be. And they actually, when I had this conversation, they actually was like, is the stuff stolen? And I said, no, that's just what I do at the Bargains Group. I get to shop for a living. I have the best job in the world. So that's what I do. I have a swag version of, I have a swag company, but my biggest business in my company right now is supplying not-for-profits, charities, disaster relief. You hear about a flood or a fire, that's me, who gets called, and also donors who want to help these people, okay? That's where my passion lies, and I want to take a business mindset. Now, we call it social enterprise right now. I've been doing it for 25, 30 years. I had to hide it. I was like the closet social entrepreneur because when a reporter, when I won Canadian Women Entrepreneur of the Year years ago, they said, are you making money when you're selling socks to the Salvation Army? So I strategically said, well, how much money do you think I'm making when I'm charging them 50 cents? And they backed right off. But it was dirty. It was a dirty word to say you were a for-profit company helping charities, and I really struggled with it. Anyways, that's enough about that. So that's what Bargains Group does. As a business owner, it pissed me off that in January, when we had that huge storm where the army was called in, we'll see how many older people are in this room. I had shelters all over this area, had no money to put socks and gloves on men and women, and they were afraid of frostbite, right? So this is wrong. So I called up 20 presidents of companies and said, I need you to do something. Saturday, I need you at my warehouse with $100. Don't ask questions, just trust me. So I'm pretty persuasive. They all showed up. I invited a street nurse, somebody who we used to call them homeless people, now we call them people with lived experience, and a reporter. And I said to the reporter, I want you to document what's really happening, not that bullshit stuff they're printing. So we had a 15-minute conversation. The social worker told the story, what was really going on. The person told it what it was really like when we actually had shelter beds. That's a whole other conversation. We had shelter beds then. And we got together and we packed kits. And those kits were only what the social workers told me they needed in real time. Not something that had been on their website for 3 years that they never took down. Not something that I thought they needed. It was actually things that I would never have thought of. And we packed these kits and we invited 10 outreach drop-in programs to come. We loaded the vehicles. We had pizza. Boom, boom, boom. 1 hour and 27 minutes. And everybody turned around and said, that was the most unbelievable experience I have ever had, Jody. I am not doing a bake sale, a stair climb, a paint the wall, a pick up garbage, a build the bike. I could go on and on and on. You guys know the list. You probably have it in a file somewhere. I want to bring all my employees to do this. And can I bring my families? And I was like, oh, okay, well, this was just Jody's love project. And we named it Project Winter Survival, which hopefully you may have heard of. It happens every January. We just celebrated 25 years, and it's run by businesses who come together and build kits. And tomorrow is our 25th anniversary of our summer project. It's our unanniversary because we don't want to do it. It's called Project Water, and we will be giving away 1 million bottles of water, and many of the companies that are here today will be building summer kits so that nobody dies of dehydration, because more people die in Canada of dehydration than they do of cold exposure. And that shocked me. And I thought, we have a Starbucks on every single corner or a Tim Hortons. How can we not have water? So those two projects were just my love projects. My kids got involved. We became a charity because the corporate sector said to me, quietly, I'm not going to say the name of what bank, Jody, we give to United Way all this money. Will you come and speak to our people? And we want to give it to you. We're just going to slip that check in your purse. And I'm like, okay, but do you have a charitable number? I'm like, I'll figure it out. So I'm an entrepreneur. So I called Salvation Army and said, I got a check exchange. Can we do something about this, right? And then eventually I became a charity because all of the corporates wanted to bring their people out here and do it because they got such high scores. So that's the name of the charity. And there's only one story I was going to say to you is, for any of you who think you can call up a charity and say, hey, it's Impact Day, or whatever you're calling it. I've got a team of 60 or 600 or 6,000. We're coming to you on Thursday. What should we wear? We call that executive daycare. Don't do it, okay? If anybody thinks you should be able to go to a charity and not contribute money, something else other than time, you're contributing to mental health of your employees, because they have to come back and catch up on their work. And how do you expect that charity to survive if somebody hurts themselves? The answer I get when well, don't they have insurance? Well, how would they have insurance if you won't pay for the experience? So remember that, and if you want to battle me on that, I'll be happy to. From that charity, about 9 years ago, something in your world changed. There was a conference, I don't know where it was all on CSR, and in an 83-day span, I got 500 of you calling me and emailing me, freaking out that you needed an experience for your company, and you didn't know where to go, and no charities were returning your calls, so could you please help me? And I asked, the joke was, I was online dating on Match.com, and I said, as every entrepreneur, we just rip off and replicate because we can't afford data or consultants. And I asked two really important questions. Do you have a charity or a cause that matches with your pillars of philanthropy, what you're dealing with? 83% of you guys said, no, we can choose whatever we want. And I remember saying, wait a minute, you're CIBC? Have you watched Run for the Cure? I think it's cancer. Nope, we can do whatever we want. That was fantastic. Second question, do you have a budget? 499 out of 500 had a budget. So what I did was, okay, I'll just teach you how to do what I do over at Engage and Change, and I'm not going to charge you because I recognize that this was a global problem. Companies and HR people were stuck. How do they engage their employees? And charities were too polite to say, stop thinking we're going to give you these experiences. We don't have them. And I'm talking like over 10-ish, 20-ish people. I'm not talking, a couple people making sandwiches, okay? So that's what I created, Kits for a Cause. I did not expect it to go global, but it's a huge problem. And the biggest excitement for a little Canadian like me is that every Fortune 500 company is calling us and saying, we heard about you and bringing in these programs because your employees are starving to have fun and do good. And remember, if we give them these experiences for only a little bit of time, you don't have to invest a bunch of time and money in it, they will give back to us. So I've won a gazillion awards because I've been able to fuse a social enterprise and an enterprise. Okay, and hang on. And this is the mantra that I created 21 years ago. Giving back makes great business sense. And for anybody trying to get budget, does anybody here have a problem with employee engagement budgets being slashed a little bit? Right there, okay? Take a picture of that and you tell them to call me, okay? Because the biggest investment HR should be making is in their people, okay? And you guys know that. It's just sometimes hard to get the money. So what is Kits for a Cause? I'm a matchmaker. I'm a fairy godmother. That's what we say. We're a turnkey solution that connects charities and corporate groups with outsourced, hands-on, engaging volunteer experience. We make meaningful impact as easy as 1, 2, 3. And the gentleman from Red Door, are you here? Put your hand up. Okay. So Red Door Shelter is a shelter that I've been helping for gazillion years with just basically underwear, socks. They look after wonderful women and children, okay? They get calls all day long. And they're saying no to people. They don't even have it on their website since COVID, right? So my job is to make sure if somebody says, I want to help, I'm doing a conference in Toronto and I've got another one. Oh, do you guys know about Red Door? Let's do something for them. And then we would connect with them, find out exactly what they need in real time. We would get them to speak. We do everything. It's a social enterprise, right? But the meaningful part of your heart and the employees, how it warms them. And the key thing is it's really, really simple. This is a 3-year-old slide. Some of you hopefully are on here. Is there anybody here from Meridian by any chance today? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about one person. Meridian knew that they had a problem, the credit union, okay? And they have about, I think, 200-300 branches, right? Last year they brought me in and they said, we want you to engage all of our employees. We love what you stand for. We allowed every single branch, every group, to come together to do whatever they wanted, and we facilitated a Kits for a Cause event. They just created their impact report. I think it's online. They got the highest scores they've ever seen, that their employees were so proud that they worked for a company that cared about the community and the causes that resonated with them and their hearts, okay? So I could tell you story after story, but what these companies are all starting to do is they're calling it a program. So whatever their name is, Meridian Care Kit Program or Kits for a Cause Program, we don't care about our name because then they can pull it off the shelf for $500 or $1,000 or $100. It doesn't really matter the amount. It's very small and it being active with hybrid, with remote, with in-person, and we've got companies who tell us the only way they're getting people back to the office is once a month having an event, okay? So these are just tactics, okay? So this also feeds into the term purposeful growth. When people feel that they're doing good, okay, they're growing and they're learning. In the things we teach is, somebody was talking this morning about education and all the employee resource groups and bringing people together about different topics. That's growth, right? So a lot of times employees will say, oh, I don't really care, but they come to an event that the company's put on, and for 15 minutes they hear a story from a charity or from a cause. It could be Indigenous, it could be BIPOC, whatever that is. And they always come away saying, that was so cool. I never knew that. And then they do this experience, take pictures, have the music, and go home. And again, their hearts are warmed, they tell their families, and they show up for work the next day and want to do more. Right? So I'm just trying to give you different examples, but it really, really works. It's really easy. These are just some pictures because it shows you can deal with hybrid, but you can also deal with remote. During COVID, remote was brutal. And there's a couple American companies who do things, but what ends up happening is it's the post office who makes, they're sending people things to pack and they send them back and it's like nothing. I'm like, don't do that. So we created different models where we would do them right across Canada, United States, and these global companies. And we have all different models the way we do it. We have ones, we do them in 24-hour manufacturing plants, car plants, where it's a drop-in because not everybody's there. So we would create a video from the charity. And all of the stuff we do, remember, it's all free because we're a social enterprise. 100% of the budget goes to the stuff in the kit. But remember, I told you about that company I own? So it's like people say to me all the time, I can't even go to a dollar store and do what you do. It's unbelievable. So we've just created this really cool, unique thing. And it's really important because it's that reputation for all of our businesses that we really need. We need great employees. And we need them to stay with us for as long as we want them. And this is just a very simple tactic that can help them. And I refer to that warm feeling as the helper's high. Anybody heard about that before? This is the new term. It's the oxytocin. It's that feeling people get. We all have it. Some people exercise, some people drink wine, but this creates unbelievable employees. And to just prove to you, tomorrow is my 25th anniversary. If you could only see what's going on in my parking lots, I've got forklifts and water and people and everything happening. And my people are like, Jody, go. We don't need you here because we have been empowered to do what we think is right. And I'll walk in this afternoon and they'll be exhausted. And this is what I get, right? And someone was asking me earlier, I don't even have sick days at my company. Because I say to people, if you're sick, you tell me if I should be paying you if you've put in extra time. And I let them self-evaluate. So this helper's high is just golden. Here's some pictures, and I was asked to show some hybrid. So if you see the picture, that's an amazing woman, Eleanor from Yonge Street Mission. So she's talking to a group there. There's one in the corner over there that's 10 offices coast to coast across North America that they're doing a virtual kit pack and people online. And we educated and we got it. Every location had a charity and everybody got to be involved and the hybrid workers could call in. I mean, there's all sorts of different combinations. The key thing is it's not one size fits all. Every one of you are different. Every one of your companies are different. And we love doing these things. And the impact, like I say, that happens. So I have to shorten this all up because it's lunchtime, and the other lady went a little long. So again, to get back to it, you have to give to get. So I really want you to understand, you don't have to give a lot though. That's the key, okay? It's really, really important that you invest in different ways, but bring back fun to the workplace. It's really super important. So I'm gonna leave that there. This was just us, and that's it. If you need any questions or want to pick my brain, and if there's any questions here, I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah. Who are you?
Rachel.
Rachel from?
Centennial College.
Centennial College. I have lots of your students that work with me. I love your school. Yes.
My question.
And we're bringing Kits for a Cause to all the schools and universities across Canada. We have a thinking group at one of those very smart engineering schools who's putting this out together for you. So
Brilliant, thank you for that. My question is for remote workers. We are, as a college, a hybrid college, but of course remote workers exist across industries. And have you any ideas for how we can engage our remote workers who may be smaller in population, depending on what organisational context you're working in.
Sure.
But you seem to have some really great ideas for charity and giving and engaging people, and just that.
So, couple of questions. Remote workers, how many ballpark, and are there remote and in person, or is it only remote?
We are hybrid.
Okay, so you have both. So I'll give you just a quick answer, but I'm happy to talk to you after. So normally what we're doing in these cases is there is some kind of gathering, And then we also have a product which you don't see, which is called a wish list. So it's kind of like a GoFundMe, which collides with a wish list, like a bridal or baby registry, with tax receipts. So we get people really competitive and competing, and we get the hybrid people competing against the in-person, competing against the total remote. They get into teams, and then when they do the actual event, those who come and do it, the speaker's there, so everybody's involved and gets part of it, and then they announce which team, and then they can decide how to work with the group to spend it. So that's just a very quick model.
That's a great example.
The other example is food banks. Depending on where your remote workers are, there's remote all over the place. So I'm a very big believer of food banks right now. Most people don't know this. They have lots of food. They're really struggling, though. If you can't afford groceries, you're not buying toothpaste and deodorant. So let's build, hygiene products. We can get them remotely, and then they can drop them off. There's a whole bunch of different models, and the messages of hope and inspiration that we get everybody to do are really a big part of that remote too.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem. Happy to talk to you about that after. Anybody else? No? All right, well, you did well. Go enjoy it. Thank you. Go enjoy lunch.